I'm Muslim, so we have some rules. um, the answer is like I cannot. I am not allowed to unless it is like less than a handful of reasons. It is my obligation and duty to do so, regardless of my feelings. So like unless I'm sick, unless he's actually being like a terrible husband, which is laid out, it's not based on my feelings. Unless he's being like abusive, like there are certain situations where I am permitted, but outside of that, it's my obligation to go through with it.
So if you found out it's in there what I just said, if you found out he had unprotected sex with a female, are you able to say no until you get that thing checked?
So that would be part of like him not fulfilling the rights, and that is part of the things that are laid out. So in that scenario, then yes, because it would be a detriment to our marriage, the health of it, right? Physically and emotionally. So in that case, then that would fall under the less than a handful of rules. But like, I can't be faking a headache. I can't just be like, oh, I'm mad or I'm in a mood or, I'm tired. Like those excuses, they don't fly.
So Inaz, I got a question. I didn't know you were Muslim. So is it, let's say if you get married here in the States, is there any other thing you would do, like when it comes to the, I mean, with the religion, like are you gonna get married and like in Islam? I don't know. Like, is there, like, I know that they have the government, and is there also another thing that you guys would do for the marriage,
Yeah,
or is it
so
like?
there's the Islamic marriage, and then
Hmm.
there's like the legal marriage, and so for me, because it's different for everybody, for me, my requirement is both.
I find the way you see relationships kind of refreshing. I don't see most women have that take. Did you? Is this something that you have you always felt this way about it, or have you seen it this way, or is this something that you grew and your perspective kind of changed?
So I never knew the options. I think YouTube kind of opens you up to different options. Like I would have never
Yeah.
said go overseas to get married because I just never even thought about that as being an option. But I would want to put my mate in a position where he would feel comfortable. That's just me though. I'm not really a financially, if I was out the finances, I would have been married by now. It takes a little bit more than that for me. But so knowing that about me, obviously he can't be broke. But knowing
What is
that much
broke?
about me, I don't care about, I don't want to leave and take half. Let's just walk in when we go in what we had going in. But I'm in a different time in my life too. So I'm in my 40s. I can't say how I would have been in my 20s. I wasn't married in my 20s.
You
But
want a man like Shamar?
Shamar wanted to break my hair. Did you see that?
Like that's what I just found.
Shamar, I'm gonna let you braid it, sweetie. But I think that when you get information, we didn't have these conversations when I was younger. We didn't have the opportunity to talk to men and get their opinion on things, and women get their opinion on things, and just find out that we just think two totally different type of ways about relationships. But I don't know. I guess I'm a considerate person, but I'm not about to be living in wet. I'm not going to be sitting in a household every day living in sin. We can go overseas, make it happen. You don't have to worry about them United States laws.
Don't isn't it Islam they have a nikah ceremony or something? Is that a real thing? Well,
Yeah, so it's a negotiated marriage contract between the bride and groom. So they sit down and they work that out themselves. And then it's a religious leader who officiates that kind of signs off on it after everybody's kind of okayed it. Um, so there's that. And then there's the legal. And I saw a slick comment about, of course she wants the legal. Um, I would rather my husband not have to go through filing all of the necessary paperwork to make sure I'm okay if something happens to him. So it's just easier to file it legally.
So
And that
but
too.
how
So,
is
so,
the?
so
Okay, go ahead.
Baron,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. I
No, go ahead.
apologize. But that's another thing though, when you're married,
Mm.
So I'm a little different. Let's just say I did get married in my 20s and something were to happen to you. The legality of all the stuff that's has to be, trickle into our, how does that work? Wouldn't that be a complication because you're not married to that person?
No, no, no. I'm not. I'm not against people getting married. Like I'm not against. I'm married. I'm not against anybody not getting married. I'm just trying to understand the mindset of you know well, women exactly. I'm trying to understand like the mindset going in. Is there anything that because a man can vet, a man can ask all the right questions, but unless we can see the future, we don't know what is going to happen. We don't know how this woman is going to be in the next, I don't know, 10, 15 years. We don't know. And that is my point. My point is my argument, if that is the thing, isn't about the marriage. I encourage everyone to get married, but the way it is now is it is a little scary the way it is now. And if
Do,
that could change, that's fine. But it's not about, it's about the mindset of people. Like I said, people are, I mean, if men were given this opportunity or this option that women have when it comes to marriage and divorce and all this and that, man, they're going to take it. When you give human beings an inch, they're going to take them out. That is human nature. But it's just the mindset of people that when especially for Christians, when they get married, they would the vows, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, all those vows that they say, it has to mean something. It can't just be something that you just recite just to get on with the ceremony. It has to mean something.
I
I agree.
agree.
Oh,
I
I
agree.
agree.
But I also think that there's a part too where people, like you said, you respect the vows enough that it doesn't lead to divorce. And I'm not saying that all the time it is, I know women file more than men, but just based on circumstances that I've seen and that I can think about, that I know of two divorces that have happened. One of them, um, I would definitely say, and the wife, well, ex-wife would admit that she was wrong in the way that she treated him, and he was the one that filed for divorce. And she said, I can't even get mad at him because I know I wasn't doing right. So there was no issue with that. The other divorce, the woman filed, and I think it was rightfully so. She stayed in a relationship. He cheated several times. And then she got to the point that was, like they separated and then was willing to come back. She said, I'm willing to still work on this marriage again. But the one thing that you cannot do is contact any of these women that you have been dealing with. We're going to start clean slate, move forward. That's it. This is the one, you cannot do this. And he could not do it. Ended up getting caught, contacted the woman, and then she filed for divorce. So in that
How did she
situation,
find out?
I don't know how she found out. I don't know if it
Why
was
y'all
on the cell.
always try to be FBI, CIA? Like
But,
why?
but my point is whether she
Okay.
was FBI or not,
Yeah.
if she was the FBI, she shouldn't have found anything because he should have honored that. He knew what the consequences would be. Listen, I forgave you on the numerous F-ups that you've made in this situation. We've separated. You said you're willing to do anything to get this marriage back on track. This is the one thing that I'm asking you not to do. And you could not do that. At that point, I think she was well within her right. She earned her way out of that marriage because she walked back in knowing what had happened and was willing to forgive him and willing. I remember they were saying that I was even willing to be unhappy because at this point I knew I wasn't happy anymore, but I was willing to give it another try. And even with that, he still could not do it. And I think it had everything to do with him not thinking that she would actually leave. And she did. And now he's regretting that. So I do think that she, in that situation, either
But
he should have moved on, because at that point, obviously, maybe marriage wasn't what he wanted and he wanted something else instead because he couldn't deal with that, or she needed to leave. But at that point, they needed to separate.
But can I ask, are those the only two people you know that have gotten divorced that you know of?
I know, and I know three, four. I know probably a handful of people who have gotten divorced.
What would you say was the general reason that they got like mostly like in general? Because I'm just trying to.
I would say in those situations, believe it or not, it was the men who actually filed for
The
divorce.
man filed for divorce.
Yeah, in all of the marriages that I know outside of the woman that I was talking about who filed for divorce, in the other situations, it was
Yeah,
the men who filed for divorce. And I'll say I'll know about maybe 8 people,
yeah.
and out of the 8, 7 were men who filed for the divorce.
Jesus Christ. Like, are you serious?
I promise you.
Oh, okay.
I promise you. I no lie. Well,
Yeah.
no, let me add one. There's 9. So yeah, 2 women. I just thought about my cousin. Yeah. So yeah, one of the women filed for divorce. Well,
Wow.
no, 2 out of the ones that I say that I've known.
I
Oh,
think I'm
okay.
in a bubble because I only know 2 people that got divorced that I could think of, and of those 2 people, the wife filed for divorce and she was withholding sex, and I don't know who filed for the divorce the other time, but she definitely was withholding sex the last 4 months of the relationship. But in the bubble, almost all the people are married and stay together.
And I'll say in my immediate, like on both sides, I would say my mom is the only one who has had a divorce on her side of the family. My mom is the only one, but on my dad's side, all of him and his siblings have had divorces. So it's 4 on each side, 4 siblings on my mom's side, 4 siblings on my dad's side. All 4 of them had divorces on my father's side. He was the last one who had the longest marriage. And then my mom is the only one who got a divorce on her side.
Do you think it's okay for divorced women to hang out with married women?
Yeah.
To learn, yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm a single woman. I hang around married women. All my friends except for one is married.